Abraham and Renee of salmon season. I commercial fish in the summer at the world's largest salmon run in the world, Bristol Bay, Alaska. We sell our fish in our home state of Wisconsin. We're excited to share my experiences of fishing Alaska and what we do as homesteaders in the off-season. There are many seasons in our lives, and sometimes it feels like we're swimming upstream. Welcome to the Salmon Homestead. Hello, we're here at the acres. Rachel is here with us to talk about our pasture grazing plan.
So it's
here.
And I mean, without digging, that's based on the maps and the potential. So we take kind of the main components of the grazing plan are going to be the map, the fence layout, and then the other part is estimating and figuring out your stocking rate and what your daily paddock size will be, which it's adjustable, and that's based on soil type. And then they give you a forage suitability grouping.
Okay.
And it's interesting when you work across different regions. Soil that's sandier or just inherently is not going to give you as much as other soils.
Really?
And so your stocking rate is twice what it would be if you were in a different part of the state or on sandy soil. So when people try to ask, general questions about how many acres per head, unless you're taking in the inherent, yield capacity of the soil, you're really gonna.
Yeah, that's what I understand when I've been reading quite a bit of Joel Salatin's books and watch when people go to his farm, and he talks about that of cow days,
right?
On your acre, and I'm assuming that since it's not planted, that we'll start at the base, and maybe 4 or 5 years down the road, we're like, whoa, we can go higher and higher with that.
And you're inherently going to be higher than others too, just by it. So what they'll do for stocking rate is the animal's weight times 0.04 will get your their daily consumption. 2% of that is what they eat, and then the other 1.5% is considered kind of waste, what they'll trample, or if you're doing winter bale feeding, the residual that they don't eat, that's what's feeding the other herd, the underground herd, so it's not waste.
Yep.
So with sheep or cattle or whatever your herd is, I'll figure out a total herd weight. So if you're going to do 20 sheep and 10 cows, I'll figure out the total herd weight and then take 4% of that, and that's what the herd's going to eat in one day. And then the other side of it is I take that forage suitability calculation, estimate the total yield per acre per day, and so and then by 5 rotations it gets complicated. Yep. So say it yields 3.5 tons a year. I would divide that by 5, and I think that ends up being 1,200 pounds per acre per rotation. So if your herd needs to eat 600 pounds,
you'd have 2 days worth there.
So you'd give them half an acre per day.
Yeah. Okay.
So and that's the other big component to the plans. It's the maps, and then figuring out kind of that stocking rate and per day information, and what your maximum is And I try to calculate for like a 35-day rotation. So it's the stocking rate's a little bit lower, but you're getting those soil health benefits of extended rest and having that kind of flexibility or added insurance in the system.
Right.
So.
Yes. Well, no, that totally makes sense. Maybe one thing I could throw out there yet would be are pigs allowed to?
Pigs are not allowed in the NRCS. But yeah, and then the other thing that I do with Golden Sands is coordinate a lot of different pasture walks and kind of these, I say, farmers graze resources each other after the soil. So last year we did one out at Justin's where he showed us and we talked about, how his system runs. And then we did another one, and then you just get to see what other people do. And he was at a Bouressa farm, which is down by Green Lake, and they don't run fence around their laying hens because they realize they'll just come in and roost, and it was a lot of time. So then Justin stopped doing that. He said that was the best thing I learned. You can learn those different little tricks from each other and just bounce ideas off of each other. So I have to figure out our pasture walk schedule, but I'll make sure to get you on that list.
Yeah, that would be terrific.
Yeah, what time is there? In the fall, did you say typically?
Well, we'll do them all year round.
Okay.
So I did 6 last year from, say it was May or June through September, October.
Okay.
Yeah,
That'd be
that would
great.
really be
we
fun.
would love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because
he taught for 19 years, so very much about always learning, constantly learning, homeschool the kids, always learning, and so we talk to a lot of people to learn a lot of different things.
Right, well, you just don't know what you don't know.
Until you ask.
Young couple out by Sheboygan, they just got fish from us to sell in their farm store, and they have, I think it's 12 or 14 acres, but then they rent some more. But they were just, they've just really been getting going the last 4 or 5 years.
Right.
So I said I wanted to see what their farm store building looked like too and stuff.
Yeah, and there is so much. That's what gives me hope is that, with all of this other, my head was spinning for a while, soil health policy and climate change and just this, and when you're, I don't know, it's that idea of top down or bottom up, and that grazing was really grassroots and. See what this looks like. It looks a little like this.
They have no worms.
So this is what you don't really want to see, where you can see those lines like this. That indicates kind of poor soil structure and like a platy, these rough.
It feels a little sandy almost.
Yeah, I mean this is like a silty, what is it? It's a silty or sandy loam. This has got top potential. Oh, here's what I was talking about as far as that grazing plan worksheet. So here's where this is the other key piece of this, and I can give this to you, where it's the weight of the animal, and then the pounds per head, and the number of animals, and then this is the tons per acre. And your soils here were group 5 and 7, so you're in this this is top, 3.5 to 4.5. And then the 7's this is where the wetter ground is.
Okay.
So have high water tables near the surface in the spring and fall. Silt loam or loam with imperfect drainage. So that's kind of the inherent soil properties. Cottage cheese that you want to see with aggregate stability. So it's there, but then this is what you don't really want to see, where if you put this in a glass of water, that's one of the soil tests, is that it may not break up as fast as if it was full of roots. Yeah, you can see there's not a whole lot of roots in the system.
Yeah,
but when you have the
this is better than clay.
Yeah.
When we built our house, and then we got the soil all better now.
See, this is.
But.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Yeah, tracking this over time. Yeah, you don't want these kind of heavy blocks, but it's not bad. I mean, I wouldn't say it's
2 worms.
And it's perfect moisture. I mean, it's a little wet. Oh, there's another worm. This is corn silage. This would have been where they took the grain off.
Yeah, they must. Then they just.
And then they left everything out.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can see the soil's got a barrier on it. So that's keeping.
So that should be nice to keep us to. When was it? You were thinking fall for pasture?
Well, we'll see what's going on with NRCS.
Thank you, Rachel, for giving us a lot of input on what we can do with our acres here. And could you maybe just remind them, what are we going to do in our first steps here before we get going?
I'd say take before pictures, because it'll be really fun to watch this plan go into action and see this land transition into highly productive pasture. So yeah, and the next steps are just getting the plan put together, some of those components with the fence layout and where water's going to go, and yeah, take some pictures, and we'll see.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a blast. So thanks again, Rachel, for helping us get started.
Nice to meet you guys.
And seeing a lot more of you.
All right, look forward to it.